Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason at Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky, and I am at the Sand Cave section where it's kind of located off a little road not too far, about 5 miles from the visitor center on the east. Yes, Sand Cave has a lot of history, but unfortunately involves a tragedy involving a man named Floyd Collins. We're going to be walking on a trail which is about not even 0.1 or 0.2 miles long. There's going to be a few markers. It's always a reminder that exploring is dangerous. Yeah, I mean, exploring is fun. Well, exploring charted territory is fun, but uncharted territory is something else. But I'm going to go ahead and start the tour. All right, so this is the start of the trail. It says up here it's only 0.1 miles or 0.2 kilometers. For 16 days in February of 1925, the world focused its attention on this remote corner of Kentucky as hundreds of people labored day and night to reach cave explorer Floyd Collins, trapped in a narrow passage of Sand Cave, 60 feet below the surface. This short walk leads to the site of this valiant but unsuccessful rescue attempt. And here is just the rules and a picture of Mr. Collins, or a sketch rather. And here's another marker. Along this entrance road to Mammoth Cave on Friday, January 30th, 1925, local cave owner and well-known cave explorer Floyd Collins descended alone underground searching for a cave in a better location. The Collins family's cave, Crystal Cave, lay too far off the main route to attract many tourists. Crawling through a very tight squeeze on his way back to the surface, Collins kicked a rock loose behind him, pinning his leg. Constrained by the tight passage, Floyd Collins was trapped 60 feet underground, and after locating Floyd the following morning, friends and family made several unsuccessful attempts to free him over the next 5 days. Word of Floyd's plight spread fast, and soon help was arriving from throughout the region. And here's a little timeline. Alright, so we're going to go down this trail. And it looks like the trail is pretty flat. I mean, really no hills or anything, but I would watch out. It seems a little slick even though it hasn't rained, but just for those that want to take this trail. Looks like we're going to be hitting a little bridge, and there's another marker. And this is titled Carnival Sunday. Drawn by newspaper accounts, an estimated crowd of 10,000 people gathered around Sand Cave on Sunday, February 8th. If you were among the crowd that day, you would have been stopped at about this spot by a 5-strand barbed wire fence constructed to keep people back from the rescue site. The atmosphere was that of a carnival. Families picnicked, children frolicked, concession stands sold food and drink, and prayer groups formed, while moonshiners slipped in and out of the crowd. Before long, the crowd dispersed, leaving behind the rescuers working non-stop to sink a rescue shaft to Floyd. And here's some newspapers headlines, a little timeline there, and then a picture of cars of hundreds of curious onlookers clogged the roadsides. Wow, interesting stuff. We came to the end, but let's see what this marker says. Actually, before I do that, let me take a look at the cave down there. Wow. Now, there was a Kentucky Historical Society marker somewhere here, and it was supposed to be where the Wayfaring Hotel was, but yeah, I don't see it. But yes, this is the entrance to the cave. But it says here, for 12 days, volunteer work crews labored in 24-hour shifts under the lip of this rock ledge to sink a rescue shaft 60 feet to reach Floyd Collins. No contact with Floyd had been possible since the collapse on February 3rd. The work slowed due to the inability to use explosives or heavy machinery for fear of causing further collapse. Every inch of the shaft had to be shored up to protect those laboring with hand tools against stone. On the morning of February 16th, a 12-foot lateral tunnel broke through to Floyd. He was found dead. Floyd's body was eventually removed and sand caves soon fell silent again. But the story of Floyd Collins continues to be told in song, theater, and film. Floyd Collins' entrapment did much to publicize the cave region of Kentucky, and 1 year later, in 1926, the Southern Appalachian Commission would recommend that Mammoth Cave be added to the growing national park system. And here's some photos here. Floyd's brothers await news of his fate. And they found a mason jar down there. Wow, and there's a, looks like there's a little nature trail too, but I'm not gonna, ooh, hell, that was a branch. Kind of freaked me out. But yeah, it looks like, yeah, nobody's allowed down there. But if they do, I guess do it at your own risk. I'm sure some YouTubers may have already done that, but I don't know that for sure. But in other words, I'm just enjoying the view. Okay, so going back to that Kentucky Historical Society marker, it is actually 0.1 or 0.2 miles from where I was. It is off this road as you're going into straight at the entrance to the park, but it is next to the Wayfarer Bed and Breakfast, and they decided to put it here of all places. But I'll go ahead and read it off to you, even though it's pretty much explains what it already told you. But Floyd Collins was first to explore Sand Cave. Fallen rock trapped him in a narrow passage 150 feet from entrance, January 30th, 1925. Rescuers reached him with food and heat for a short time. Aid cut off by shifting earth, closing passage. Engineers sank 55-foot shaft, but unable to reach Collins' body until February 16th. Rescue attempt publicized worldwide, aroused sympathy in nation. And it says the same on the back, but this was put up in 1970, and then marker number 1385. All right, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Historically Marked. Hope you learned a little bit about Mammoth Cave today and the consequences of, exploring uncharted territory. But stay tuned for some more videos. I am Jason in Kentucky, Mammoth Cave. Sign off.